Welcome, friends. Life is satsang. There's nothing that is less of this infinite than anything else. There's nothing that's more conscious, more aware, more awake. It's fundamentally all equally this. And yet, on the surface, it can be reflected in different ways, but the fundamental nature of everything is the one same flowing benevolence. So as I sit, I can feel this constant enfolding beingness of benevolence. And then I go through my day and I notice I take opportunity to be instructed at every moment. I feel like there's this constant guidance, this constant invitation to help me learn how to deepen. So it turns out there's satsang constantly. So one example was regret. So I read an article about medical professionals in a medical professional magazine and how they deal with regret and how it improves as they get older. Because, inevitably they learn something, they experience something, they look back and realize, oh, maybe I could have done something different there. And, in the moment, it didn't occur to them. They didn't know to do it. And I had one recently where I was doing this exam on this patient who's in a lot of pain in an area where it wasn't part of my exam. And so, she was just cautiously guarding everywhere because of this one place of pain. When I accidentally grazed across it, she just startled. And I could see how this whole thing was just a very stressful experience for her to have anybody touching anywhere near it. So as the exam continued, my first intention was to take a look there too, even though it wasn't part of the exam and even though it was in a place that ultrasound usually can't see anything. It's got too much air. Ultrasound depends upon water to transmit this sound in any kind of regular fashion. So, we don't usually look in that spot. It's not part of an ultrasound exam. You go to a different exam for that. But, I wanted to look and just see. But then, as the exam progressed, I could just see that she was just stressed out to have anybody touching her torso. What came up for me was just, oh, let's just get everything, look carefully at everything I need to look at and be done. And put this person out of her stress over this exam. And so in the end, I totally forgot to look at that. And later I regretted, I forgot to look. So regret, right? We get regret. And then that moment of regret, I was like, oh, it's too painful. I can't have regret. Somehow it's just right. Probably I wouldn't have seen anything, but that I didn't look. I wanted to have looked. But she'll have all the next experiences she needs, encountering her doctor, getting another exam, getting the appropriate test. Maybe what I would have seen wouldn't have even been accurate because that's not the ideal place for ultrasound. Maybe me not having seen it will help her get to the next exam that will see much more clearly than I could have seen. Certainly, I was watching her husband helping her. What they were going through was just very sweet together. Very, very sweet. The way their love was blossoming and him caring for her was just so beautiful. So while, this is a difficult time as they're going through it, she also was recently had a baby. So he's helping with the baby as she's challenged to fully do everything she wants to do because of her pain. So there's a blessing. There's a lot of blessings in what their experience is. And for whatever reason that I didn't look, it's they're going to continue experiencing these blessings together as they go through the next stages of discovery of how to treat this. I am not the authority. There's such a relaxation. And that was the satsang lesson. I am not the authority. I am not the authority in how their lives should be. I'm not the authority in how I should behave. I'm not the authority in what I should remember and not remember. There's no authority here. There is only the infinite authority. Another time where I had this beautiful lesson, beautiful. So I saw this announcement that 12 major pyramids spanning like 5 or 6 different continents, yeah, at least 6, all had a pulse underneath them at the exact same moment on that was measured by seismographs. I don't know if that's a true announcement. I couldn't find anything else that could validate that, so probably wasn't. But what happened, I got a lesson out of it. What happened is immediately I felt this tingling benevolence as I conceptualized, oh my gosh, there's this additional new influx of support, of harmony, of intelligence, of coordination, of, more benevolence. That's, what my brain started to imagine. And what it did in my system, just imagining that, was, this moment of great gratitude and expansion and relaxation. And it was just, just a joy. Now, then I looked at myself and I thought, okay, Lisa, somehow if the 12 pyramids across the 6 continents all went off at the exact same moment and emitted an energetic stream or energetic beam, that to you, I was talking to myself, that to you would mean even more benevolence than there already is. You can see the lesson where this lesson is going, right? It's like there was no new benevolence. What happened was my system opened. And the moment my system opened, it turned out the amazing benevolence that's already here was felt more fully. I felt the benevolence more fully because somehow this idea of the 12 pyramids having this simultaneous pulse meant something, that the system opened. And then I felt the additional benevolence already always here. Isn't that amazing? That is living satsang. That is getting a lesson every moment. When something apparently negative happens, I get taught there's no authority here. I get taught that it's always appearing in a new way, and it's just taking my curiosity to see it. And then when there's something super positive, whether or not it's true, there's a lesson there of noticing how the system has the capacity still to open for more, open for more. I was in meditation with a friend, and he was saying, fall in love with consciousness, fall in love with consciousness. And I could tell he was feeling the energy in me, and he was noticing that I wasn't receiving or experiencing quite the magnitude of love that he was experiencing, and he wanted me to be able to experience it more. So somehow he has this system that's so expanded that he can tune in to even more love. And he was just inviting me. When you fall in love with somebody, there's 2 things that happen. There's a cherishing of everything out there. And then there's also a sense of supreme safety and trust in here. And the combination is just so expanding of our vehicle. So that's what he was inviting me to do. Just expand even more, even more, even more. So when something good happens, I get this taste. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's more available to expand. Life is constant satsang, whether it's something very, something negative happening or something very positive happening. It's a constant invitation. So enjoy.